All right, here's my rant. Ready? My rant is called 10. I'm Chris Hucker. And of course, as usual, as is our tradition here, we reward the Duct Tape Award to the best rant of the previous year. It's, or my favorite rant, however, there's no objective metric for rants, is there? I don't know if we'll solve that problem eventually. In the next decade, we'll have an objective metric for rants. I choose Anna Anthropy's reading and reinterpretation of Kara Ellison's poem Romero's Wives from last year. It was incredibly powerful and moving. Unfortunately, Anna can't be here today, and so when I was trying to entice her to actually show up, one of the things I said is, well, you're going to miss out on Eric Zimmerman duct taping you, and she said the following: I have no interest in being duct taped by Eric Zimmerman. I'm pretty certain I'm only interested in applying duct tape to other people. And so, in the spirit of that, Justin Hall will now duct tape Eric Zimmerman to Jason De La Roca. We gave them a choice, and they chose sack race style.
Oh my.
So,
we're going to do a victory lap around.
Yes. While he's laboring under that challenge, I will continue. This is a powerful part of the rant, so keep the duct tape noise. Okay, yeah, they need to be able to live. So. Okay, we need one. Yeah, go. We need a chair.
What weight class are we in now?
Yes.
Jason does wrestling, and oh wait, I'm taking.
No, it's too late. I'm gonna get your arm here.
All right.
Okay. All right.
Does anyone want to join us?
All right, that's enough. Oh, wait.
My rib.
Let's give him a little slap.
Whoa.
All right, Duct Tape Award.
What are you doing?
We thank Jason and Eric for the amazing rant session.
Thank you.
All right, we'll need to put together some kind of double chair.
The leg is really on solid.
Okay, sit. Please go sit down now. You're fine. Keep going. Down. Okay. All right. So, because Anna can't be here, I talked to her, and okay, shut up. I'm ranting. So I talked to her, and there's a couple of her essays that really resonate with me that I'm going to do a couple readings from. So this is the Duct Tape in Absentia Award. So usually the Duct Tape Award winner does a small mini rant, and so instead I'm going to read from two essays. The first of which is an essay she wrote called Well Played. Quote, X isn't a real game is not an apolitical statement. It's a statement designed to serve the status quo. It is, in fact, nothing more than a stalling tactic. The status quo is drowning. By entering debates with them, by agreeing to speak in their terms, we're just allowing them to feel important for another minute. It's not their world anymore. Games have trained us to be so reactionary that we're spending all our energy trying to fell giants that are already dead instead of cultivating the things that are alive. We can stop playing their game. We can redefine the boundaries of the conversation. The second, the full, I'll have the links for the full essays if you're interested in reading them. They're very good. The second quote is from it's a much longer, but it's from an essay called "How to Make Games About Being a Dominatrix." As people, and these are segments out of them. They're much longer. As people who spend a lot of time making and discussing games, we talk a lot about the rules of games. We develop a mechanical understanding of them, and rightly so, because we create play by designing rules. Tetris's whole trajectory comes from the rule that only complete lines are eliminated from the screen. Mistakes and imperfections remain, making it harder to create complete lines. The ways that the rules of Tetris interact to create meaningfully stressful experience are fascinating and beautiful, as true an expression of art as anything you'd find hanging in a gallery. But as a queer game designer, I find that most of my work isn't motivated strictly by a pure abstract desire to play with the form. Most of the time, my games are motivated by imperatives to represent aspects of my identity, or to provide criticism, or to interrogate politics. So I'm going to talk about context, the ways in which we frame our rules and communicate them to the player. Here's the first thing to know about context. Context is everything. Context is everything. In 2011, I made a game called Transgression that is essentially a find the hidden object game. But what you're trying to find is a woman who has a penis at a Michigan women's music festival. This game would be trivial without the context, parenthetically, and let me add as a disclaimer that I really like the Where's Waldo books. But the entire purpose of Transgression is to illustrate the absurdity of Mitchfest's women-born women policy by reducing it to as simple and transparent a system as possible. In March, I made a game called Triad, and here where I, Chris Hucker, will parenthetically say this is one of my favorite games of last year. It's a puzzle game about sliding weird-shaped tiles around to try and fit them into a limited space. But the space is a bed, and the weird-shaped tiles are three people who are trying to sleep together successfully. This is one of the fundamental problems I've encountered as someone who is poly, someone who has multiple partners. The sliding tile puzzle is an old game, but it's context, again, that creates the meaning for players that doesn't exist in games with similar puzzles. I'm not saying that I don't believe in games as places for abstract mechanical exploration. I just can't afford it. To refuse to take a political stance is itself a political stance. It is the stand with the status quo. And the status quo of video games is alienating, is racist, is misogynist, and promotes rape culture. It is important to me that my games exist in visible opposition to that. And a conversation about games, a criticism of games that is purely mechanical, that erases context, erases my identity. As a trans woman, I exist in a society that's continuously trying to erase my identity. Context in my games is the voice through which I speak my name. Context is everything. All right, so my rant is called 10. So there are some obvious facts that after a decade of ranting, number one, I am old. Number two, I am washed up. And number three, I am out of ideas. And so, given those three facts, there is an obvious conclusion, which is that I should crowdfund the rant.
When I think about what I want from a new rant from Chris, it's basically the same thing as all his previous rants, but with slightly updated PowerPoint slides. Nothing too new. That would be scary. And that's why I'm urging you to back his rant on Rantstarter, just like I am. Because with Chris, you know exactly what you're going to get. It's the same rant year after year. And also, Chris has assured me that he'll be spending no more than 80% of the funds received towards the fulfillment of physical rewards. That way, you know, at least a little bit of the money that you give him is going to be going to providing you with the rant that you want and you deserve. Not to mention the handcrafted steak sandwich he will deliver to you himself while it's still piping hot.
At GDConf, complex and important ideas forward, hashtag GDC14. A sip of Coca-Cola makes the world go round, and the number pi gives you the facts about that round shape. Hashtag math is delicious, hashtag pi day. At GDConf, illusion of communication for the profit of large corporations, not true discourse between people that can move subtle and hashtag GDC14. Check out this cat, hashtag so, hashtag cute. At GDConf, so then I thought I'd rant about some of the new modern communication mediums and how they're actually providing only the hashtag GDC14. So if ever there was a topic that was rant-worthy, it is free to play. And there's the obvious things to rant about with free-to-play, including things like the downward price pressure, the platform, total platform mismanagement, the greed behind it, the misaligned goals of both platform holders and game designers / business people, and the serious lack of an ethical compass. And so Wait, I have change, hold on. Okay, 6, let's see, Wales. I only brought 1 penny though, who here. Can we have a round of applause for the whales, please? I put 10 minutes on the clock. I wasn't sure how far we'd go. I told Eric and Jason not to interrupt until at least 5 minutes in. All right, so after a decade of ranting, where I talked about, this is my first slide, I've changed my design a little bit, how Sony and Microsoft are about to screw your game about in-order processors, the in-order CPUs, multi-core CPUs from the previous generation, which were about to come out. That was the same time as Greg's Heart of a Gamer rant. Ranted about power fantasy, which led me to make this, which is actually my favorite image from any of the rants I've made about interactivity. There was this that Jason mentioned, perhaps better known for this. There was a rant where I got to use the word Scylla and Charybdis. There was the rant where I got to there's a tendency among the press to attribute what is the exact quote? The creation of a game to a single person, says Warren Spector, creator of Thief and Deus Ex. There's the rant where I pissed off all the indies by saying that game jams are not as valuable as actually exploring your game deeply. There's the continual theme of human scale interactions in games. There's the rant where I bemoan the dysfunctional three-way between players, press, and developers, and the seemingly the appetite for sameness we seem to have. And then there was last year, which was a tutorial on how to do something completely new. The common theme between all of these is this idea of potential unreached, how I have these very high hopes for the games as an art form, and how I feel like we were, in a lot of ways, failing to reach that potential. But you know what? Things are actually getting better. And one illustration, in fact, the most important illustration of this is, wow, what a year for games this was. Totally incredible. So all of these games, I mean, there were plenty of interesting games last year of mechanical sort and whatever, but all of these games are all about, none of the games on this page have people who possess human powers, large swords, orcs, jet backpacks, any of that stuff. And it's totally normal to make games like that now, which is just an incredible accomplishment over the past decade, and it's really amazing. We're nowhere near our true potential as the art form, so don't worry, there's still plenty to rant about. But I have to say that we seem to be heading in a very good direction and making steady progress, which I find fucking awesome. And so onward to the next 10 years. Thank you.